It just gets more complicated if you do it in the wrong order. So it makes sense to put it in the right order. You could do division with numbers if you mixed them up too, if you remembered where they were, but it wouldn't make much sense. So it just is easier if we have it in the right order. This one's already in the right order, and then we can do long division for this. We're also going to learn something called synthetic division today. Now for long division, as a quick review, you would go negative 3x to the 4 plus 2x cubed plus 3x squared minus 4x plus 5 and divided by x plus 2. And it would look like this. You would need to multiply this first term here. In order to get a negative 3x to the 4, you need to multiply by negative 3x cubed. That gets multiplied by the x to give you negative 3x to the 4, and the 2 to give you negative 6x cubed. You then would subtract. This is review, so you don't have to write this down. Just watch. Okay? Just watch. It's going to go fast. Just watch. Unless you don't want to review, because then I'll skip this. Okay? All right. So when you subtract, you get 8x cubed plus 3x squared minus 4x plus 5. You would look at your next one and say, I need to multiply plus an 8x squared to get 8x cubed plus 16x squared. Subtract, you get negative 13x squared minus 4x plus 5. Now I would need to multiply by negative 13x. Negative 13x squared minus 26x. Subtract that, you'd get plus 22x plus 5. And then finally you would add 22. 22x plus 44. And when you subtract that, you get negative 39 as a remainder. And long division takes a fair bit of room. What synthetic division is, mathematicians are inherently lazy, that they don't like questions where they have to write a lot of stuff. So once they've seen a technique like this, they say, is there a way that I could streamline this so that I don't have to write as much and I can make it go faster? Now, hopefully I didn't make any adding or subtracting mistakes in here, but synthetic division looks like this. Instead of writing all the x's, what we'll do, and I'll split it right here, is we're just going to write the coefficients. So again, the order matters. So I have negative 3, 2, 3, negative 4, and 5. Put it in a box like that. And then if we're dividing by x plus 2, we put the opposite number on the outside, so minus 2. The reason we do the opposite number is it allows us to add instead of subtracting. Everything we did here was always subtracting in long division, and if you were going to make a mistake, you're going to make a mistake with your negatives. So by changing the x plus 2 to a negative 2 at the beginning, it will mean that we add and you're going to make less mistakes. First thing you're always going to do is bring this number down. Get a negative 3. Then you take your negative 2 and multiply it by the negative 3, and you'll get a positive 6 here. The way that that matches up with long division, you see how we always got a negative 3 to start? That's why we bring this first one down. And then when you multiply this negative 3 by this 2, you got a 6. That's the same thing that's happening here for the 6. And now instead of subtracting, we add. And we're going to get an 8 here that matches up with this. Actually, this 8 here. You do this step over and over again until you're done. So what did I do as my last step in the blue arrow here? I took the negative 2, multiplied it by the negative 3, got 6, and added. Now I take the negative 2, multiply by the 8, and add. Now I take my negative 2 and multiply it by the negative 13, and add. And finally, I take my negative 2 And do you see the numbers that I got? -3, 8, -13, 22, -39 match with all the coefficients of the answer. So it allows us to do the same thing, but not have to write nearly as much stuff, which makes it a little bit faster. And so now we can write our division statement. We had started off with -3x to the 4 plus 2x cubed plus 3x squared minus 4x plus 5 equals, that's our polynomial. Our divisor, we were dividing by x plus 2. We got as an answer -3x cubed plus 8x squared minus 13x plus 22. You'll always notice that after you've divided, your leading power is 1 less than what you started with. So I started with an x to the 4. After dividing by an x plus 2, my leading coefficient will be 1 less, an x cubed. And then our remainder is minus 39. So this is dq plus r. And that is our division statement for this question. It used to be that they taught the long division, used to be part of the grade 10 curriculum. So you learned grade 10, you learned long division. You did long division all grade 10, and you didn't see synthetic division until grade 11. And everybody when they're in grade 11 was mad because they've been doing long division for a whole year, and then in grade 11 you were taught the shortcut method. You'll get good at long division this way too. Yes? Are 8, 9, 11, and 12.